Why did you guys target those type of players this time?
You know, for us, I think one thing we found last season that helped us succeed was having some guys who had been around and knew how to play the game. And, you know, in our league, we're going up against a lot of teams that have NBA teams either own the team or they run the basketball operations, and they try to get younger guys. And you know, one of the ways I think that we can compete against these bigger entities is to have guys who know how to play. And you know, we have a great core group from last year, and Ron Howard, Anthony Harris, Terrence Thomas, and Chris Porter coming back. All guys who have been successful in our league, know how to play, they know all the ins and outs. And you know, I think we try to keep a focus on that as we approach the draft. And luckily, we got some good guys who are out there.
Gotcha. Let's talk about your guys. The guy you took first, Alfred Aboya, just another guy with veteran experience.
Mm-hmm.
What did you see in him? Why did you like him?
Well, I think as we kind of looked at the way our roster is constructed, we have a lot of players coming back in a lot of different areas. And one area that concerned me is we didn't really have a big guy, a big banger, and that's definitely what Alfred is. I don't know if he's the most skilled player in the world. I do know he plays hard. He's rugged, plays defense, and gives us someone to kind of plug the middle for us. And so that's why we focused there. And some of it was, as the draft was coming down, the bigs would go off the board quick. And you know, Alfred graded out pretty well for us. We heard a number of good things from him, so that's why we went with him.
Gotcha. I just kind of typed out some of the things here. We wanted to talk about Stoudemire first. Did you play college ball with his brother?
I did. Salim was his brother Antoine was a player with me at Oregon, and University of Oregon. And Antoine was a great player, and you know, I'd always see Salim down at the games, and it was fun to watch his career and his ascension. One of the great players in the nation when he was at Arizona. You know, probably not the career he wanted in the NBA. You know, not as long as he could have played and probably should have played. But you know, things happen, and you know, he's a talented player. He was sitting there in the 5th round. You know, easily the best player out there, and you know, I want to give him a chance and see what he can bring to us. And if he comes in and he competes and he's right, then we got a great steal there, and someone who can really help us. Because you know, make no mistake about it, he may have been drafted in the 5th round. He's got 1st round talent. It's just, you know, there's a lot of water under the bridge there, and some people just don't want to touch that. I know him to be a really good person. I know him to be a really good player, and I think it's worth the risk there.
I know he's actually been out of the game for a little bit, so you know, why did you want him then? And 2, how much convincing did it take you to get him back to playing?
Well, you know, he got into the draft on his own, so no influence by me there. He played last, I think, 2 years ago. I had spoken with him. I saw him at the Las Vegas Summer League. He looked great. I know he's been working hard on his game. And, you know, at that point, I just, you know, there's frankly, very little risk for us to take him. So that's why we ended up doing it. And, like I said, if he comes in and is in shape and he's the player I know he is, then we've got something.
Yeah, he could be the steal of the draft, basically.
Could be.
2 guys we want to kind of talk about together is Brandon Beasley and Kyle Randall. Just really 2 people who known for their scoring. What did you see in these 2 guys? Do you think they can bring you guys?
Well, Brandon went to a smaller school, and an NAIA school. And the last guy we drafted like this was Sadiel Rojas, who was really one of our better players last year. Was great for us. Yeah, Brandon was a dominant player in that league. And he had been working out all summer long with the Indiana Pacers, and some of their scouts told us, "Hey, you know, take a long look at this guy. I think he's pretty good." And you know, the coaching staff and myself all saw a lot of him. He came up here and worked out with us. You know, he's got great size. He's got, you know, the toughest thing to find in these drafts are guys who, if you throw him the ball and say, "Go get me a bucket," go get one, and he was able to do so, and scores in a variety of ways. A really good rookie prospect, and probably, you know, he and Kyle are the two rookies that we took in this draft. And Kyle also went to UNC Greensboro, finished his last year in Central Michigan. Another guy who plays with a great pace. I think he's got a great feel for the game, very savvy. and a great shooter, and can kind of not only play a two guard for us, but also give us some minutes at the one. So that's why we liked him, and both those guys, their coaches raved about him, and when you put all these pieces together and you see them, you like the way they play, their stats are right, and then you hear great things from the coaches. It kind of makes it an easy pick for you.
I think about kind of the NBA draft and how it's now expanded to a global looking for players. Yeah. Is that kind of how we see this? Maybe like getting a Beasley out of an NAIA schools that maybe you don't really hear much about. I mean, is that kind of another find possible?
Well, we hope so, obviously. But in our draft, there's some guys where there's lots of guys from schools you've never heard of, or maybe not heard of much, or haven't seen on Big Monday on ESPN. Maybe they play at smaller schools, but they're very talented. And there's players from big schools, but maybe they don't put up the numbers. Maybe they're not dependent on to score and carry a team the way a Brandon was or a Kyle was. And so, that's the real tough thing. You go in these small schools and you think, well, how are they going to play against, D-League players? And because it's a better league than, Big Ten basketball. It's better than ACC basketball. How is someone going to make that jump from NAIA to something better than that? And, it's a crapshoot, but you try to put those different things together. Do they have size? Do they have athleticism? Can they get their own shot? And you just try to project what they can do. And we've had some success in it in the past, and we hope obviously we do again.
Yeah, I know at least for the St. Francis football team, just that's only NAIA. We kind of follow. They have a lot of guys who might go Division II, but they don't want to leave home, so they just go play there and get a steal. The one thing I know I was supposed to ask too. Don't know if you can talk about this. Was there a trade with Maine? Has that gone through?
It hasn't gone through yet.
Okay,
so I can't
so I don't know if we could talk about that or not. That's all I can really think of. Kind of what's the process right now between, do you have to kind of sign these guys before training starts?
No, they're all signed, so all the players will be coming in on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we're up and running at the Concordia Theological Seminary on Thursday morning. So it is a quick transition, and trying to make sure we're all caught up, but we're excited to do it, and I think we've got a chance to field another good team, another tough, competitive team, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. I'm looking forward to how they respond to our new coach, Connor Henry, too.
Now that you guys have been in the playoffs, it's kind of you want more of that, I'm taking it.
You want more of it, and it's a different summer. Last summer with Dwayne Tickner and I, we just wanted to wipe the slate clean. I mean, there were good players we had that were just caught in a rough situation. It didn't matter. We just wanted to start over. This year, coming off a successful season with just great leaders and great players, like I said, with Howard and Porter and Harris, we want to keep these guys, and we want to find guys that kind of have that same mindset, that same attitude, that same toughness, and that's what this camp's going to be about. It's going to be about competition, and I mentioned those four holdovers, but they got to go and compete for the job, and I want guys who are hungry and compete, and if we have that sort of competition, I'm excited for what we can do, and the fact that we can continue on with what we did last year.